Greetings. Just sitting outside. Um, I just had a thought. I was watching Tech Moan, a channel with 2 million subscribers out of the UK. He's a great guy. He doesn't shout and yell at you or carry on. It's very watchable. But he bought one of those electronic record cleaners. I'm not a believer in those, but I guess if they're extremely expensive and you've got a brand new record or close to brand new, they probably help. But he he cleaned it and cleaned it and cleaned it, and I knew what was going to happen because when a record is so full of gunk, a 50-year-old record, there's only one way to get it out. You use revirginizer, which is one of those ones that you put on wet. It's like a glue, and it dries and settles deep down in the groove, and then you lift it off 12 hours later or whenever it's dry, and you can actually see all the crap in there, and it makes a big difference. The trouble is, revirginizer is way out of my pensioner's budget these days. If a record is inherently, if it's second hand in particular, you may as well not even bother. You don't know who's had it. They could have been played with blunt stylus 100 times. You don't know. So I wouldn't recommend wasting your money on those things. I know with 45s, I've done a video on this before. If you've got that gunk in there, all you need is lukewarm water, a bit of antibacterial soap, tiny amount, and just run around with the softest toothbrush you got. Just go around it gently, rinse it off, play it, and you'll notice a difference straight away. It gets all that gunk out of the grooves, and a lot of the gunk is, it's just mold. The mold holds the gunk in the grooves. You can use, if you open one of those records and it smells stale, moldy, you know you're going to have to get into those grooves because it will be full of mold and the dirt, muck, and gunk will be trapped there. Anyway, I'm trying to keep this quick. But he tried an anti-static gun. Now, as an old darkroom worker, one of my most treasured tool in the darkroom was an anti-static gun, and also a dust-off, which is compressed air. And I never had to worry too much about getting, hairs and dust on my prints, because if you made sure everything was clean before you put it in the enlarger, you had no problems. But I just remember when he was talking about that, he used his anti-static gun, and it helped this record he was cleaning a little bit again. But it was like a 60-year-old record. God knows where it's been. So it's sort of a pointless exercise, If he'd done that experiment on a reasonably decent, more recent sort of record even one he has bought new, and that would be a more honest comparison. If a record's got that static and crackling in there, and it doesn't go after one or two cleans, give it away. It's not ever going to be any good. I've bought brand new records with built-in static over the years, over the decades, and it doesn't matter what you do to them. I don't know what happens. Something in the manufacturing process has just put static into it, and you just can't get it out. Toss it in the bin. But I was just thinking, when I was working in a darkroom for the government, Australian Information Service in Canberra 40 years ago, it's a very dry climate and it's quite high up, so very staticky. Even going into the darkroom in winter when it was really dry, you'd touch the door knob to go into the darkroom and you'd get a shock all the time. You'd forget. You go, I must remember to, use my sleeve to open. You just forget. You're just in a hurry. You're running around. Ow! So we had anti-static mats put in on the floor where we stood with our enlargers and did our work, and that means that when you're not introducing static, because static on negatives when you're printing is like a record with static. It's a nightmare. You've got static on the film, it just attracts all the dust, you know. Um, so yeah, so anti-static. I'm just saying to anyone that has a chronic static problem, um, I highly recommend getting an anti-static mat, which you put. They're quite thick, you know, solid rubbery looking things. I'd put that right on the floor in front of where the turntable is. If you have a massive static problem, and take your record, you know, step on the mat and then put your record on the player. It means it's limiting the amount of static or eliminating it depending on the severity. And I would use an anti-static gun too. If you've got that sort of static problem, you know, just a couple of zips, and that will remove it. So, but you know, I'm not an audiophile, so basically, I really don't give a rat's ass. You know, I like my crackly old 45s. I love them. Anyway, that's just. Hopefully, it might help someone with a problem with static. Bye for now.